everybody. Recording in progress. So I'm very, very happy and grateful to be here, but I'm super nervous. So you get a very bad presenter. Anyway, let's try to do the best. So I'm gonna read a bit sometimes because I want to make the most of the time and don't want to extend it too much. I will try to keep it to 20 to 25 minutes because I will leave more of my personal challenges to the question and answer, depending on what you would like to know after my presentation. So it's just an overview, and then please ask in the end about the things that you would like to know more. So I'm going to share my screen and hopefully be able to. Oh, can you see it well? Is there anything covering the screen for you?
Yeah.
Well, so this presentation is a collection of slides that I used before in different situations. And it's a visual expression of the concepts that I find very hard to translate into words. And I will introduce myself a bit later. I will start by relating my experience of the challenges that women face as designers in this bigger context, much bigger context. So let's start with this collection of my favorite designers and inspirational women. When you look at these pictures, you may recognize some familiar faces or names. Patricia Urquiola is the art director of Cassina, one of the most important luxury Italian furniture brands. She is considered the first lady of today's furniture design industry. And another one that's very well known is Zaha Hadid, a first woman to win a number of international prizes in architecture. And she's very well known for her computer-generated flowing forms. And she passed away, unfortunately, but her studio is still huge and very, very important in London, but one of the most important in the world. So you see these Brazilian, Lebanese, Iraqi, Italian women, and they are here because they have occupied places where decisions are made, which is in a way what all human beings aim for, but very few manage to do, women much less. These women became icons of design, not only because of their work, but also because it's very rare for a woman to occupy those spaces. So if that previous page was showing some male designers, we would probably be talking about their work only, not so much about the challenges that they represent. So when we see women in design, we tend to focus more on the fact that it's so rare and how wonderful that they can represent this minority. But even if it's a man that you're talking about, you don't even think about that. You really focus on the work. So the difference starts in this. Now, for me, reshaping the design landscape is not about women replacing men on the forefront. It's about finding a balance, and it starts with rejecting this narrative that you see in this cartoon. For me, it's a narrative that generates a culture of victimhood. When we look at this cartoon, we women will probably feel disappointed and angry. And I would guess that the men in the room will feel a bit defensive or embarrassed. So this type of image and approach to the theme of equality, in my opinion, perpetuates prejudice and division. It does not lead to unity. So I don't like this approach, and it also reinforced that message that, well, such is reality. The reality of life is this. Housework and childcare belongs to women, and success in the workspace belongs to men. So is it really the reality that we want to perpetuate, the message that we want to perpetuate? Does it really show reality, or it's a dangerous and harmful illusion? I will ask our friend Sarah to read it in a minute, but before we read the quotation from the Baha'i writings that I selected to exemplify this attitude that I'm trying to describe, I will tell you a bit about the images in this page. So you may have noticed that I really find much easier to represent complex contexts visually rather than verbally. And it's probably something that every designer has, this difficulty with words. So this image is from a mood board, this collection of images that I created in 2021 for an award. And the brief was just 2 words, women and avant-garde. A famous Swiss watch brand, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Tag Heuer, something like that, watch brand from Switzerland. They were offering a prize of £2,000 for the best idea to base their new approach to the female market. Some of you may recognize the Baha'i Temple in Chile. It's a part of this collage. There's an image there that is from the Baha'i Temple in Chile. Anyway, I was the winner of the first prize. I got some cash from this Swiss brand because I used the Baha'i concept of women seeking balance rather than authority in an unhealthy hierarchical system. But of course, I won this prize because of my passion and my knowledge of Baha'u'llah's teachings. And I feel very guilty that the prize belongs to Baha'u'llah, not to myself. So, Sarah, would you please read the quotation for us?
When the two wings or parts become equivalent in strength, enjoying the same prerogatives, the flight of man will be exceedingly lofty and extraordinary. Abdu'l-Baha.
Yeah, so the key here is to reflect on how much higher the station of both men and women will be when the reality of equality replaces the illusion of inferiority or superiority. And another quotation from the Baha'i writings is from Abdu'l-Baha, because the other one as well, the previous one as well. Abdu'l-Baha is the son of Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith. So Abdu'l-Baha is a well-known champion of social justice and an advocate of equality. That's why I selected these 2 quotations from his writings. And Sarah, you can read it again. And you can read this one, followed by the next one, and I'm going to show up the finish.
As long as women are prevented from attaining their highest possibilities, so long will men be unable to achieve the greatness which might be theirs. Abdu'l-Baha. So long as these two wings are not equivalent in strength, the bird will not fly. Abdu'l-Baha.
Thank you. So every day we have to visualize this future and break hierarchies, finding balance like wings on a perfect flight. So hold your thoughts and your insights about this very deep food for thought, and we will talk about this in the end. And I will leave this here to introduce myself and show you a little overview of my work and my journey. I was born in Brazil to a family of 6 sisters. In that picture you see at the bottom left, I'm the second one next to the baby. I became a Baha'i in 2008 in Brazil, where I was born. And I went to serve in the Baha'i World Center in Haifa in 2010, 2 years after I became a Baha'i. So there's where I met my husband, Omi, and we got married in Haifa and had 2 boys and during our service there, and moved to England in 2014, exactly 10 years ago. So from 2019 to 2021, I studied furniture design in London and got my master's degree. So that's the beginning of an interesting story. As you can see here, my background, as Philip said, is graphic design. I have a lot of experience in web design projects too. And when I started my master's, my teachers asked us to prepare a presentation about ourselves and our research. The theme of our research was a research-based master's degree in furniture design. And when I was presenting it, the screen was similar to this one, but limited to the information you have on your left. So during the presentation, I said, there is a gap in my career as I spent the last 7 years there in 2019, 7 years, as a mother at home. So the teacher later called me to say I was sounding very apologetic for the fact that I stayed at home with my children for 7 years. And he asked me, from now on, you should refer to that time in your life as 7 years of research on family life, because this will make you a better designer. This experience will make you a better designer. And that was fascinating. And I did correct this slide. And from now on, I introduce myself with a very experienced researcher in family life. And I added my experience as a teacher for spiritual education of children, which is a service I offer to the Baha'i community locally here where I live. So that's me. Now, the theme of my research was open source furniture for the family. My aim was to create a collection of open source furniture for the family that would attract children to the social areas of the house, as a contrast to restrictive measures that some parents use to protect children of what they consider dangerous, especially kitchen and office areas in the house. Instead of buying these protective gates, I believe the parents should embrace good design. Can you imagine a toddler standing up, holding Patricia Urquiola's chair, you can see in the screen, trying to learn how to walk, and the interaction will be similar to the child interacting to this wooden toy that he has in the hand? Wouldn't the sensory stimulation be as effective to building the motor skills in that child? This fantastic table on the right corner at the bottom is from an Irish designer. And his inspiration was rocks, the way the waves carve these holes in the rocks. But with the eyes of a mother, designer and mother, I can see a child playing under that table as this baby is playing with a Montessori toy that you throw the ball in the hole and gives you a sense of permanence of the object. It's very pedagogical. So instead of buying these small toys and putting the children in a designated play area, furniture has the potential to make the house an interactive space with elegance, with style. Not just a toy that you throw away, a plastic chair from IKEA designed for the child until they reach 6 years old and then you throw away. Yeah, so that's the idea behind my project. Children get very tired of toys very quickly, especially plastic toys. Their favorite toy, according to my experience, is the adult. They don't like to stay in another room. They want to be where the adults are. They want to watch what the adults do. They want to listen to what the adults are talking about. That's how they learn how to be humans. So furniture can have this amazing potential to be functional and beautiful while attracting the interaction of children in a very elegant way. So that's what is my aim as a designer, to be the bridge, to facilitate that to happen. I got inspiration from other designers and artists and from scientific pedagogy too. There is a lot of fascinating works that, like Patricia Urquiola's chair or that of the table you saw, they are not designed with children in mind, but it opened up so many possibilities inside the mind of a mother. So how wonderful is it to be a designer and a mother? That's my point in here. This exhibition created by the American sculptor Robert Terrien, and I'm sad that Peter Maguire is not here because he has seen this exhibition himself very recently, and I would love to hear about that. So it's a fantastic way to show that how designers and artists understand this magic that some objects can have, but they didn't have the children in mind, I believe. So, okay, from now I will do a quick reference to my own design process. And in the end of the presentation, I will also show you some of the furniture that I have managed to produce in this very short journey so far. Sorry, I'm rushing because I'm conscious of time and I really want to hear from you. Does it sound rushed? Or is okay? Good, good. Okay, so here you can see again a mention of the concept of open design, which I would not have time to explain much, but I would like to mention that that's a bit what connected me to Philip Kuhlman, our friend, dear friend Philip. I had to hand out to the teachers at university a critical review of my research, and it must include a few interviews with other designers. And Philip was amazing in sharing about his work with me. And you all know well that his designs are one-off pieces for collectors and should be in art galleries. And it's very contrasting to a concept of digital fabrication and open source design. And it's a big contrast with my practice, but we have a lot in common with all these different approaches to design. What connects us is our passion for sustainability and innovation. And I thank Philip because since then he has been a great friend and big encouragement for me and my work. Okay, so again about my design process, I try to follow a very simple model that is based on iterations. It starts with exploration or extensive research. Then it moves to experimentation for testing the ideas that seem to have more chances to succeed. And there is a moment for evaluation of the results, which will lead to another cycle of exploration, experimentation, and evaluation. So here is an example of a mind map that brings the structure of the initial ideas for the project. And it leads to a series of sketches. So from the very beginning, I had to learn how to detach myself from the fear of mistakes because we need to produce thousands of these sketches to kind of document every insight, every idea that the research brings to you. And that's when we learn how to embrace failure. Embracing failure is not an option, it's a necessary step to success, as our teacher used to say. And I think it's a good thing to learn as a mother as well. So the design tools kind of transformed me as a mother in a way, like embracing failure and the fear, losing the fear of mistakes. It's a good skill to learn. So some sketches deserve to be tested as a 3D model. And again, without any level of details, because speed is important to experiment with different ideas. The models are used more often for ideation or idea generation than for presenting the ideas in a very detailed way. The mood boards are used to represent, for example, the target audience and the colors or textures or the lifestyle that you want to work with, or forms, materials, and techniques that you are aiming for. So these are three examples, a few examples of some mood boards that we've done in the context of that project. And as I mentioned before, I also did a few literature reviews and related to child development. But it started when I got pregnant of the first child 13 years ago. My son is 12 years old now. So it was used in the research, but it started much earlier in my experience as a mother. I also visited workshops of designers that work with digital fabrication and became a member of the Makespace in Cambridge to learn with other designers, sharing knowledge and work on digital fabrication. In my case, I learned the laser cutter, CNC machine, and these technologies in Cambridge. And this is the final result of my project for my master's degree. It's a 6-seating dining table as the central piece of a collection where commonplace artifacts. I try to reinvent the commonplace artifacts through my understanding of the places where the child wants to be. And again, I wanted to put the picture of the father with the baby in my presentation instead of the mom, just to bring the idea that parenting is really genderless in a way. The top of the table was very functional and simple, while the underneath comes alive. That was the idea. Imagine the child playing hide and seek while the parents are using the table either for work or for the food. And the collection would have also some movable benches that the parents could sit closer to the child. The adult and the child would sit close together. And another sitting place for the child would be the rug, because the children prefer to crawl on the floor. So the collection had the rug as one of the elements as well. And finally, I will finish the presentation presenting my new collection, which is the first sellable collection. The table became a big 6-sitting table that full of mixing concepts and is not ready for the market. It's just a big sculpture in a way with 100 concepts on it. So to simplify all these ideas, after a couple of years on my own studio, I've been dedicated to produce this collection. It's a modular collection, as you can see. It's called Broto. Broto is a shelving system for house plants, and it is designed to be assembled safely by children and adults. It doesn't use any glue or screws. It's a glueless and screwless method of assembly. It embodies a lot of principles of circular economy. That's a brief that I gave to myself. I need to make something that embraces most of the principles I could of circular economy. So it's monomaterial. There is no mix of wood and metal or glue or anything. It is made using digital fabrication, which makes possible distributed manufacturing. I can make available this design under the Creative Commons license, so people can credit me, but produce it in Brazil or in Africa or wherever they have access to a CNC machine. And it helps with not transporting things from China everywhere around the world. So it's not mass production. It's something between one-off piece and large scale production. Is more about mass customization. So because you can get my design and customize it according to your needs. That's the beauty of digital fabrication in this context. So it's also made of 100% recycled wood waste, which can be also recycled. And the material is color through and it is available in 10 different colors. And even the dye is organic, is non-toxic. The finishing is natural oil, based on natural oils, is non-toxic. And the name broto means in Brazil a sprout of a plant. And I chose this name as a way to pay tribute to childhood, because it could mean also the beginning of life, and a tribute to my own experience as a mother. And that's me trying to make it 20 minutes presentation. Thank you very much. And sorry if I rushed and if I was a bit too nervous and reading too much, and I would love to hear from you.